Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this is a late night review of I Killed Giants. Yeah, it's pretty late at night here. Just got done watching this. The recap is from the acclaimed graphic novel comes an epic adventure about a world beyond imagination. Teen Barbara Thorson is the only thing that stands between terrible giants and the destruction of her small town. But as she boldly confronts her fears in increasingly dangerous ways, her new school counselor leads her to question everything she's always believed to be true. I Kill Giants is an intense, touching story about trust, courage, and love from the producers that brought you Harry Potter. This is a end of 2017, beginning of 2018 movie. It is, I don't see a rating, but I'd say PG. And it runs about, oh yeah, 106 minutes. I'm just not seeing a rating on here. I don't know why. Sometimes it's really small, but I'm just not seeing it. I would say PG. So, this stars, let me get to the Madison Wolfe, Imogen Poots, Sydney Wade, Rory Jackson, and Zoe Saldana. I love that name. She was in Guardians of the Galaxy. Madison Wolfe was in Conjuring 2. And whatever Madison Wolfe is. I've never heard of that movie. Oh, that's her name. So, yeah, she was in Conjuring 2. So, yeah. So, I don't know how to really describe this movie at first. I would say it's like every other childhood kind of adventure movie. There have been a lot of them. I can't think of any of the names the whole time I was watching this, but there have been a bunch. And I mean, the one that comes out to mind is Super 8, but that's the best version of this kind of movie is Super 8. It's the best I've ever seen. And I mean, I guess that just came out with all the kids and everything, but it's not really in the same category as this. So this came off very strange. And I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't this. And it kind of turned into what I thought it would be with her imagination, but I did not expect what I saw. So I'll get into my notes, but I'll tell you, really disappointing. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't this. I was actually kind of surprised. I saw the cover and I didn't know what was coming. I was actually surprised that it started in the real world. I am. I was like, okay, I mean, if we're gonna be fighting giants the whole time, and if that's what the movie's about, why do we spend 40 minutes without seeing an actual giant, not really talking about it, not really doing anything? There's no urgency. It's like, what are we doing? Are we going to fight any giants or not? I mean, you're wondering that literally for about 40 minutes. That's kind of stupid. I just wrote down, I'm just going to tell you what I wrote down, because I tried to write down what I wanted to say most of the time. I'm just wondering if this was real or make-believe the whole time. It kind of tries to answer itself at the end, but not really. And so it just pisses you off the whole time, and you're just confused the whole time. I kept trying to make sense out of it. I was like, okay, the first thing we kind of find out, I'm like, so she thinks the giant is that, but like nobody else can see him. I was just talking to myself like that the whole time. I didn't know. They kind of went 4 different ways, 5 different ways, 10 different ways. And I'm like, what's going on? I was so lost. I was so confused. Never did get explained if it was real or make-believe. I guess it was all make-believe. It was totally in her head. But the movie doesn't paint it out to be like that. This girl ends up being a real brat too. I like we're supposed to cheer for her. We're supposed to try and get on her side and understand what she's going through and cheer for her to defeat these giants, and we get brought through her whole process of what she's doing, but it doesn't explain anything along the way. And then she ends up doing all these crazy things like talking to people down to them, I mean, she thinks she's all high and mighty. She doesn't help out at home when she's supposed to be. She does all these things that just make her a brat. And it just doesn't make it, like Harry Potter, where you want to cheer for him, you want to be on his side. You have to cheer for the main character. That's not like this movie. Yeah, you really kind of want to see her get her own, and then the way she's talking to people and the way she's treating them, you just don't really end up caring about her. This makes absolutely no sense, this movie. I was lost the whole time. I was confused on things I was trying to make sense out of. The side characters, there's a line from the sister that the siblings aren't helping out. It's like, why aren't they helping out? Like, what are we going to do to achieve that one goal out of this whole movie? The friend is the friend, but she keeps betraying this girl, and she doesn't really do anything. She doesn't really turn evil, but she doesn't really get her to be a friend. And there's nothing that makes really any sense in this whole movie. Zoe tries to give a backstory on her, and we get introduced to her family for no reason. Supposedly the town's gonna all die, and then that gets backtracked to, the mom's gonna die, and then, the giant's looking out for this main character. It's like, I was so confused the whole time. I don't think I'll ever understand what this movie really was going on. I really don't think I'll ever find out. I could have used more urgency from the main character the whole time. She's in school. She could have been skipping school for like a month. That would have made a lot more sense. I mean, people would have caught on and people would have, done things, but at least she'd be ahead of the game of fighting these giants, and it would have, brought the crowd along a little bit better rather than her just sitting in the classroom looking downtrodden and thinking for like 10 minutes of the movie. That's all we get to see is just her sitting there. This never really explains what happens to her parents. Like, we start the movie off with kids kind of being parentless. There's this big scene right at the beginning, and that's fine. But you can't just like skip facts. You can't. I mean, I'm sorry that this thing was supposedly a novel and they had to cut it down to a 106-minute movie. They probably could have made a 3-hour movie out of this, and then there would be more details. There'd be more explanations, and then we could actually, there'd probably be more action too, and then we'd understand everything along the way. But the fact that they made a 106-minute movie was like, I'm lost the whole time because like they don't even explain the parents. They don't. I mean, like the mom is sick. What from? Where's the dad? Why are the kids having to survive on their own? Why isn't there a family member? Do they have any extended family? Nothing. We get no details. And I wrote down that at this one point that this friend of the main character, she sees something, she drops a glass, she runs away. I really thought it was one of the monsters that the main character sees. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she sees things, but she won't do anything to help, and she won't tell everybody that, this girl's not crazy. So I guess it ends up being the mom, and she ends up finding the truth about the family and what's going on in this movie. And so I guess that makes sense. That's fine. But I really wanted more answers. I just did. I have so many freaking questions about this movie, and it tries to go one way and then goes another way and then ends up a different way. And I'm like, I get confused and it upsets me. The thing about this movie, I mean, it's called I Killed Giants, and it's painted that it's by some people who know what they're doing with a movie. the intrigue to this movie is there. I say rushed is a very good word to describe this movie because obviously they did not make long enough a movie for details. And so, I enjoyed most of the movie, but I started laughing at how bad it was. I mean, the intrigue is there, but you got to do something with it. And you got to have time to explain things so people don't get confused. I mean, it's nice to have a nice movie, but this is probably the stupidest nice movie I've ever seen. And then they have this last fight scene, and I expect it to be something like Avatar and, have somebody whip out this huge, power and do some really cool, momentous thing. And it has our main character fly with this huge weapon, like halfway across the screen, and it like strikes the ground, and the monster gets shot in the face, and it falls down and it's defeated. It was the stupidest climaxing fight for any movie that I have ever seen. It's ridiculous. That's what this whole movie was painting out to be at the end. Sort of flying across screen and doing something stupid on the ground, and then it shoots up, and then she still has a conversation with the darn thing. I tell you, people, I don't know how else to explain this movie. I'm just talking because I don't know what the frick to say. I don't know what to say about this movie. It's so stupid. I ended up laughing half the time. It was so bad. So I wrote down that the giant is not real after this big old Benga fight. And then supposedly he grabs her because she tries to finish him off, and they both go into the ocean together. Okay, so this is my ultimate explanation of why this movie is stupid, okay? It's at the end. Nobody supposedly can see these monsters. She is supposedly making all this up because the monsters equal death, and they're trying to come for her mom. And at the end, she says, well, I defeated you. My mom won't die now. And the monster says, I came for you. And she's like, but I defeated you. My mom can't die, so I can't save her. And the monster says, yes, that's correct. And then he brings her into the ocean and almost drowns her. And then the friend goes out into the ocean to try and save her. How did she get out there if the monster's not real? How did the friend see that she's in the ocean if she didn't see this huge fight between her and the monster? That is the major point of the movie, and that's the questions I have from it. And there's probably more questions, and there's no answers. And then it ends up really stupid, and the mom dies, and the monster's looking out for her afterwards. Nothing makes sense. I just don't understand it. So I'm done with this movie. Anybody who's seen any of my other reviews on bad movies, the lowest grade I give a movie is a D- because I don't believe in Fs, because I understand what it takes for people to make a movie and everything. But this is a D-. I don't understand how anybody can ever sit through this and enjoy it. And so if you have ever heard of this and you have seen it and you enjoy it, please tell me why in the comments, because I don't understand whatsoever when the monster at the end said that she has shown much strength or something. I was laughing out loud. I live in an apartment. I bet people in other apartments heard me here at midnight, and I could not stop laughing. It's such stupid writing. Nothing makes sense. She doesn't end up becoming friends with the bully or anything like that. They probably didn't have time for that either. Just nothing. There's no resolution. There's no explanation. There's no storyline. There's no context. The brother's useless. What did he end up doing? Do we know? He wasn't even at the end. I don't even think I saw him at the funeral. It's like, what's going on? This whole movie. D-. I Kill Giants. That's it. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. You can like this or any of my other videos. Try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. and enjoy your movies, just not this one. Thanks.